Action.
Have you ever gone to work every single day and you didn't get paid? After my divorce, I was going through a transition. I was getting a new job and I was so excited, right? But when you get the new job, they tell you when they're going to pay you. And so you have to be able to afford going to work for about 2 weeks before you get a paycheck. And so I'm just trying to make it. At that period of time, I was living in my van and I'm going to work. I'm taking a shower wherever I can. And so when payday comes, I'm so very excited. I'm like, hell yeah, I'm hungry. I need some food. I need a place to stay. Let me see this big, fat, wonderful check. And I got my check and I looked at it and it was $18. My check was $18 and I was so sad. I didn't know what to do. I said, holy Christ. I said, man, how am I supposed to continue to come to work and then get another check for $18? Now, after I got my check, probably about a week later, I got a letter in the mail from the Attorney General that said that automatic child support had been deducted from my wages and I had arrears because I was incarcerated for 2 years. And so since I was incarcerated for 2 years, I owed all this money. And when I came out, I got a job. They took all my money and I'm just sitting there and I'm in my van. I'm like, how am I supposed to pay for gas? What am I supposed to eat? How am I supposed to go back to work? Forget all of that, projecting going forward for the rest of my life because I gotta do this for a long period of time. What the hell am I supposed to do? This was the biggest question. I had never been in this predicament. I never even thought about being in this situation. I had encountered other men who were fighting child support. And I just what I told those people when they told me I was on child support and they was having a hard time. I was like, bro, you just got to figure it out. I think so many people, they just tell you, man, you just got to figure it out. And I'm trying to figure it out. I'm still in the process of figuring it out. But then once you start going through it, you're just like, hey, wait a minute. Who wrote these laws? Why did they write these laws?
The foundations for the modern era of child support were laid in 1975 with legislation signed by President Gerald Ford, himself the child of a 1930s divorce.
We don't even question the things that are happening to us. I know a lot of people, you're not on child support. And so for you, you're like, man, you shouldn't be making babies. And just to even get to a position in our society where we rationally think that it's a bad idea to have children.
The World Health Organization says roughly 1 in 5 Americans is unable to conceive after 1 year of trying.
They were making a decision not to have children. I'm like, wait, this cannot be America. This cannot be freedom. And as a free citizen, as an American, my whole life, I've been told about this idea of American exceptionalism, about freedom. And these ideas, as I've gotten older, they're crashing down. I'm like, wait, man, the government has a whole lot of power.
In fact, in the early 1970s, when they were looking at the 4D program for the first time, the National Organization of Women testified before Congress regarding why these child support laws were needed. And they testified saying that because they were getting, just by default, having custody of all these children, they made it clear to Congress that their views at that time were custody of the children to the mother is not an award, it's a sentence.
And why in the hell is the state, why in the hell is the state of Texas, why does the federal government have any say over my family and how I raise my children and how I take care of my children? And God forbid there are any parents in the world who be like, I don't care about those children. But in a free society, citizens have the right to say, I don't want to be a parent. And you know, well, you shouldn't have. All I did was hook up with a chick that I thought that I liked, and I thought that she liked me, and then she made a decision to have a baby, and now we have this baby, and the state thinks that they have the right to tell us what we're supposed to do.
I'll agree with the legislation's its intent. He also had reservations stating the establishment of a parent locator service in the Department of Health, Education, and Welfare with access to all federal records raises serious privacy and administrative issues.
Every American citizen, every person, you right now, I know that you're just trying to figure it out. And don't nobody have no answers. When you're in a really tough situation, no one knows how to help you get out of it, especially when you're fighting against the state. If you ever go to work every single day and you get a check for $18 and what you supposed to do?
Break yourself, fool!
Please don't take my money, or they're gonna take you to jail. Or you get caught up in this is like they're casting this wide net and they're turning American citizens, they're turning fathers and mothers, they're turning us into criminals.
From its humble beginnings, as a program designed to recover money expended by the government from absent parents whose children received welfare benefits, child support enforcement has grown into a monstrous state and federal collaboration employing over 56,700 people at a taxpayer cost in excess of $5.77 billion per year.
And that's crazy when the American government turns American citizens into criminals, debt slaves in America. I'm like, man, when I think back about slavery, I'm like, why didn't those people get free? And you don't want to compare our modern situation to actual physical bondage, but being mentally enslaved is worse than physical slavery.
They made it clear to Congress that their views at that time were custody of the children to the mother is not an award, it's a sentence. That's why they created the 4D program at the federal government, to try to rescue these women from the burden of custody.
I'm literally a slave to my ex-wife. I'm literally a slave to the state of Texas. And if I go and I give my labor to a company, they can make a determination on when they're going to pay me, how they're going to pay me, and they'll make a negotiation with an outside entity that's not myself to give my money to somebody else. And I ain't got no say in the matter. And I can tie all this into how they use laws to turn me into a slave when I'm supposed to be a free person in America. Like, why do you keep saying slave? Because damn, I'm not free.
And the problems it creates is it builds a huge bureaucracy that supports one parent at the expense of the other. It gives the custodial parent a sense of invulnerability because they have this whole bureaucracy on their side. It creates increased animosity between parents, pitting one against the other, driving a further wedge because you've got that whole system that's constantly initiating actions that the custodial parent hasn't even initiated themselves.
I can't escape this plantation no matter where I go in the United States of America. There is a number following me around so that every time I go and give my labor and ask for some money, and then you'll tell that, damn, it gets so deep. Who can survive in America? How can we survive in America? And if you know how to survive in America and you're not giving this information on the North Star to freedom for other Americans,
break yourself, fool!
then goddamn, man, you're worse than any slave owner in the history of America. You're worse than any racist Nazi in the history of America. You're the worst person alive. You're not the greatest American alive. You're the worst person alive.
The 4D system, because it provides all these things for the custodial mom, provides everything for the custodial mom, and I say mom or dad. If I say those words erroneously through my presentation, there are non-custodial moms and there are custodial dads. But sometimes I slip up and use gender-based language, mom and dad, and that's only because, according to the University of Minnesota, 90% of the divorces and paternity cases in Minnesota result in custodial mom.
Weaponizing children. I know my ex-wife, my baby mama, they weaponize their ability to have my children in the most amazing way. If I didn't care about my children, it wouldn't even matter. But since I love my children and want to be a part of my children's lives, it affects me in a great way. And so when the adage is absolute power corrupts absolutely, even if you give the power to a woman, she will act in a corrupt way because she has the power to do so, and you can't say anything.
The 4D system is based on the belief that women are unable to self-sustain. The 4D system is based on the myth that dads don't want to parent and are only minimally involved with their children. And the 4D system is contingent on the fact that one parent is labeled an absent parent. The 4D system is based on the erroneous belief that dads won't support their children unless they're forced to pay.
I think situations such as these dispel ideas of patriarchy and all types of supremacies because it doesn't matter. The person who has the power will use their power to get the things they want, no matter who it affects and how it affects them. Because if anyone cared, men in America wouldn't be in a situation. In general, parents in America would not be in a situation. This system would not exist if anyone cared.
The Greatest American Alive.